Hey, welcome back to The Morning Mindset. I am so thankful you are here, especially if you listened to yesterday's episode of The Morning Mindset, because we brought up a topic that is very hard to swallow, and that is the teaching of 1 Peter chapter 3. It goes against the grain of our culture, and it says things in a way that can be easily misinterpreted. We're going to dig into it a little more this morning, but I just want to warn you, if you have not heard this entire series of messages that are talking about our calling as believers in Christ to serve those around us, you need to go back and get the context, or else you're going to misunderstand some things. I'm going to try to speak it in a way that you can get anyway. But man, if you can go back to the episode entitled Peter's Use of the S Word, you will have the context if you listen from there on out. Now, we just read yesterday in 1 Peter chapter 3, something that I know is hard to hear for many people. Peter says, "Likewise, wives, be subject to your own husbands, so that even if some do not obey the word, they may be won without a word by the conduct of their wives." Now, if that was all Peter said, and that's all he said about this subject, we could easily, in some senses, understand he's saying, yes, wives, think about your husband from a perspective of what you can do to lead them to Christ. You want to be respectful. You want your conduct to be pure. You want yourself not to be argumentative and nagging and all those things. And we could probably get our brains around that. But he goes on. And in verse 2, he says, "When they see your respectful and pure conduct, do not let your adorning be external, the braiding of hair, the putting on of gold jewelry, or the clothing you wear, but let your adorning be the hidden person of the heart, with the imperishable beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which in God's sight is very precious. For this is how the holy women who hoped in God used to adorn themselves, by submitting to their own husbands, as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. And you are her children if you do good, and do not fear anything that is frightening." Oh my, if Peter wanted to stir up a hornet's nest, he just did, didn't he? I mean, he gave a couple of examples of what this looks like in real life for a wife to be subject to her husband. Some of it has to do with attitudes. Some of it has to do with actual actions. And it all smacks of chauvinism. At least that's how our culture would define it. But my friends, can you listen to me for just a moment? Peter was not a chauvinist. Neither was Jesus. Neither is the Bible. Peter is talking about a bigger issue than a woman's right. He's talking about a bigger issue than men's rights. He's talking about God's desire to redeem human beings, to transform them into his image and to call them into his kingdom. And he's talking about the human role of helping that to happen on planet Earth. And the human role is the same role Jesus played. You know, we say we want to be like Jesus. Well, here's how we do it. We do it by serving. And ladies, let me just speak to you for a moment. I know it's hard to hear someone who is not in your shoes, a man, telling you what you should be doing as a woman. I know that's hard. I mean, you're not only hearing it from me, a male voice, you're also hearing it from Peter, who is a man. But can I ask you to look beyond that and realize you're hearing it from God, who is the creator of the universe, the one who created you and knows best how you fit into his plan. You see, it's his plan, right? Now, we're going to go into this on a deeper level and dig into what Peter's saying specifically and what he's not saying specifically. But before we get there in the future episodes, please consider this. Is there anything more important at the end of your life than for you to look back and say, I fulfilled God's purpose and calling for me? And it was something bigger than my rights, bigger than my comfort, bigger than my good feelings about what I am supposed to do in this world. I don't think there is, and I want to challenge you to consider that. My brothers and my sisters especially. Join me again tomorrow, and we're going to dig into this to understand exactly what Peter's talking about.